What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Harrison, and it's safe to say that PlayStation has lost their way this generation. It's undeniable at this point. You know, the PS4 era was probably the best era in PlayStation's history. Maybe you could argue PS2 because PS2 was so dominant, and it took the PS3 a while to kind of catch up to Xbox and the Xbox 360. But PlayStation had so many just fantastic games that came out on that platform. Some of the best games that PlayStation has ever released. We had games like Spider-Man that came out. You know, God of War 2018 was the reboot, soft reboot, however you want to call it. Not quite a reboot because it still carried the storyline from all the other God of War games, but it really shifted the gameplay. You know, we had Horizon that came out. You know, The Last of Us, the original Last of Us remaster that came out, that's kind of started off the generation. Bloodborne came out on the PlayStation 4. You know, The Last of Us Part 2 kind of ended the generation for PlayStation 4. And there was high expectations going into the PS5 era, and I think just PlayStation has just absolutely let us down. I know Jim Ryan is definitely at fault for this. I think his trying to catch on to the live service and free to play games craze really just I don't know dampered this era. Like it was just it's just been not a great era for the PS5 in this generation. I'm not gonna say this whole generation is a wash because a lot of times like generations start out solid, they have solid games, but you know it's the tail end games that really can complete a generation. Some of the best games to ever released on a platform are at the very end because developers have had time to get to know the hardware, get to know the PS5, and then they can really kind of crank out some of the best games, you know, and really push the power of the PS5 to its to its maximum. So there's still going to be great games to come. You know, we still have like Insomniac's Wolverine, which I think is going to be very good, but yeah, it's just a shame what happened this generation. I think they focused on the wrong thing. They focused on chasing the free to play model trend, and you know, a lot of times, you know, with kind of anything, you know, when you're at peak free to play, you're at peak Fortnite, Apex Legends, all that stuff, and you're like, okay, we need to make a game, you know, and that game takes 2 to 3 years to make and to come out. Then all of a sudden, maybe that trend isn't a trend anymore, and it's kind of old news. You know, Fortnite it's a little bit of a different beast, and you can't really ever compare anything with Fortnite because it is so dominant. And to their credit, they are constantly changing Fortnite. You know, whether it's the seasons or adding in the music stuff and the Rocket League stuff, or you know, adding different IPs into the game, and then based on whatever IP they'll put in, you know, they'll change up the maneuverability and you know stuff like that. So Fortnite does some really great stuff. I do like Fortnite a lot, but yeah, and obviously we're talking about the recent news that Horizon got canceled. Their live service MMO game got canceled. You know, and this one I guess makes the most sense out of all these to get a live service MMO kind of thing. But still, at the end of the day, it was canceled. I think Concord just absolutely scared them to death, so they're canceling projects left and right. And you know, this is all obviously on top of the God of War live service game that was canceled, which just I think to everybody's acknowledgement just made absolutely no sense. You know, that if they were to announce that was coming out, people would have dug it into the ground. I don't think it would have succeeded at all. So I've got a list pulled up here that I want to share with you. And credit to Radek on Twitter. I'm not sure if he created this list or not. But here it is. So we got Destruction All Stars that was released, Gran Turismo 7 released, and then Helldivers released. Gran Turismo I wouldn't necessarily call a live service game, but it's going to have live service elements. It's going to be constantly updated, so maybe it makes sense. Concord obviously was shut down within a week. Massive failure, like catastrophically bad failure for PlayStation. Fair Games from Haven Studios. We don't know anything about that game. We haven't heard from that game in quite a while. Horizon multiplayer game is still TBD. We don't know anything about that. There was supposed to be some sort of multiplayer game. Marathon from Bungie. We have no idea. I mean, you know, Destiny 2 isn't doing super great right now, so who knows what that looks like. Horizon MMO got canceled. Media Molecules live service game is unannounced. Bungie, maybe Gummy Bears. I'm not really sure if that is unannounced. Jason Blundell's LA studio game unannounced. Last of Us Online obviously got canceled. Twisted Metal got canceled. Spider-Man: The Great Web, Insomniac Games live service game but canceled. That one looked like it could have had potential, but obviously it got canceled. London Studio live service game canceled. God of War live service game canceled, and Bend Studio live service game canceled. 17 games. I know they had talked about those 12 games that were in development for live service, and majority of those have been canceled, and that is absolutely, I just realized I didn't have my camera going, but that's okay. But yeah, majority of those have been canceled. I just, again, I think, you know, PlayStation had I mean, they're winning like the console race. If people are still care about that crap, I mean, I don't. It's whatever. But as far as like sales versus Xbox, obviously they're leagues ahead in terms of sales. But Xbox hasn't really. I mean, yes, they want to sell consoles, but they're not focused on that anymore. They're focused on Game Pass. They're focused on having players play Xbox games everywhere imaginable. You know, at this, they didn't do anything at their direct yesterday, but I guarantee you at the April 2nd Switch 2 Direct, there's going to be so many games that get announced from Xbox that's going to go to the Switch 2. Doom is probably going to come, and others. So Xbox is focused on, I think, the good things. Like they're opening up their platform, and inviting everybody to kind of share in the fun of Xbox games. And they crushed it with that Direct yesterday, by the way. And I don't know, PlayStation just feels like they're in a very weird spot. I think they needed to get humbled a little bit coming into this generation. That I think you know, everything was going right for them in the PS4 generation. You know, Xbox One started, you know, with their marketing was everything was online, and they kind of, after they had the announcement, they had to walk that back. And I guarantee you PlayStation was going to be on that same trend, but they saw how poorly the Xbox One was received, that they walked that stuff back as well internally, and then brought out and announced the PS4. So they definitely got a boost on that. But yeah, again, they're still ahead in sales, and they still have, you know, their third party exclusives are killing it. You know, Silent Hill 2, Black with Wukong is great. We still don't know if that's coming to Xbox or not. You know, Stellar Blade was incredible. One of my favorite games of last year. So yeah, it just feels like they are just not on the right page at the moment. They'll find it eventually. It seems like, you know, once Concord was an abysmal failure. I like using those terms because like it was very bad. And the legacy that Jim Ryan left on PlayStation is a generational failure in my eyes in the PS5 era. Just all time bad. So again, I'm not dogging on PlayStation. I bought a PlayStation in 2024, and it was my most thing I played all year. I loved my PS5, but we come to PS5, we come to PlayStation for these great first party games, and we just have not got that this generation. And one has to think, if they weren't focused on all these live service games and having Naughty Dog and other teams work on this stuff, they could have invested that time and money into making a new IP, or a project that's already within, an IP's universe. Make it another Last of Us game, but maybe not make it about Joel and Ellie. Make it about somebody else that's maybe a smaller project. I'm all for the smaller projects that already has the boosting of an established IP. So yeah, that was long-winded. I ranted for a little bit, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you agree with me, I assume most people will, because I don't really think that it's not a hot take to say that this generation has been a bit of a letdown with PlayStation. But if you disagree with me, let me know in the comments below. That's what this channel is all about. We can agree to disagree. We don't have to come after each other. We can respectfully agree to disagree. And I never asked for it, but please, if you're here this long, give a like on this video. It greatly helps. And just leave a comment for engagement. Whether it's an emoji or something like that. That helps as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Consider subscribing to the channel. I'll let YouTube algorithm pick one of my videos below for you guys to watch. give it a click, and I hope you enjoy, and I will see you in the next video.